Welcome to the Beacon by Soul 33, teachings for your past, present and future. Good morning, everyone. It is the 28th of August here in Auckland, New Zealand. It is a new week and a transition into the new month. Now, if you are listening to this on the Beacon app or on Spotify or on YouTube, please don't forget to like, subscribe and share, especially about the app. So the app I created a few years ago, launched it just before COVID hit. And I'd been saving up to start it for about 2 years prior to that. So it was in very slow development based on what I can afford. I have no financial backers. It is me saving up and investing back into it whatever I can. Apps are not cheap things to run because we have two full-time coders that are keeping up with new technology. And so the more that you share and the more that you let people know it exists, it enables me to be able to add more on there for you for your soul progression. So I really appreciate all of the new members that have come on board from the PR that Soul 33 has had internationally. It's just been so amazing to hear from you all. And Kieran's just been very, very busy trying to respond to you all. And so welcome and thank you for being here. So last week, it was a very mixed bag week for me. So just remember, I do what I do. I've been given a gift and I help people where I can, but I'm also a human being and I've chosen to keep participating in human life, which means having a relationship, having a family, living relatively normally. And there are sometimes parts of me that I know with my personality can completely shut down and just be like, right, I'm going fully into the meditative path, focusing on my growth and allowing myself to just be fully immersed in spirit. But for me, at this point in my life, I feel like I need to be walking with my feet on the ground because that's how I am to help people, is by personal experience as well as the wisdom that spirit passes through me and the healing. When you come to me, I am a healer first before anything else, meaning the words that come out of my mouth is because you want me to speak. But the healing from, now there's information out there in the whole world to know about my healing abilities. I do not take credit for them. I am the vessel in which that I've been chosen to do this work. So as I talk about these soul progression lessons for the week, they are practical information for your practical life, but they are for you to understand what you're here to do and progress you. And I like to keep it real and honest and give you examples of what's going on for me so that you can figure out how to apply it in your life. There's one thing I'm very, very good at doing. It is piecing the pieces of the thread and fabric together. And that's how I understand who you are and why you're here over time, because that's my job, is to progress you and to see how everything fits together as one big puzzle. So as I do a recap of last week's energy, it was, I make connections without expectations. I make connections without expectations. I have to say, like I've told you this before, usually a week before a moon phase, particularly full moon, all my emotions start to rise up. It's like it all needs to come out. So when the actual full moon comes, it's ready to just clear what's left. So last week was a very cleansing and purifying week. And from old expectations and old memories that have been stored in our DNA, they were coming up to be cleansed and purified around self-belief and to recover from things that we've lost. And it's really interesting. I had a week of love, loss, and even hate. Because I'm honest with you, we have received so many emails from everywhere in the world, places that I could never even imagine. Kieran's been telling me that have heard about me through the PR that's been put in the world, and I'm so grateful for that. But we did get one hate mail, and we've never, ever received an email like this, ever. And Kieran was really taken aback by what this woman had to say. And I was actually quite shocked because I was thinking, wow, this is judgment and perception that has come without any substance. So remember, we are all different. There is this perception that people who are on or doing spiritual work should be poor, sitting under a tree, and not participating in human life. This is why I told you this is what I'm doing, because I am a person. I've got a life outside of the work that I have been chosen to do, which I never asked for, by the way. And just remember, everyone on their path is doing what they need to be doing for their soul experience and their soul progression. And spirituality looks different. This is why when I see a client, some people are so open and that I can see the most intricate details. And some people are just not, because that's just where they're at. There is no judgment or criticism. Everyone is different. So before, when I was looking at why was I shown this hate mail? And it was for me to look at self-belief, because people, and I actually wrote in this week, the Monday Mantra before, people are going to be showing you their true colors. And I saw that in 99.99% of the wonderful emails that Kieran had been receiving, because she'll snapshot certain things for me to read bits and pieces. And the true colors is also that when you put yourself out there and that you are brave and you are making connections, you cannot expect everyone to be nice and see you for who you are, because some people can't even see themselves, therefore they can't see you. And I am a multi-dimensional woman. I am a healer, I am a partner, I'm a daughter, I'm a friend, I'm someone that loves rap music, I also like rock music, I also like spiritual music, I love to cook, I am a businesswoman, I have a master's degree in marketing and business. I am all of those things, but they are all part of my spiritual path. So we cannot judge anybody in any industry to look a certain way because that's what we think they should look. Everyone's on their own path. And this is what this connections without expectations is, that when we make connections with people or things, we can't expect them to fit in a box that we thought they were going to be, because people will surprise you. Like, people surprise me all the time when I see them as a client. I'm like, oh my goodness, like I wouldn't, over time, especially if I'm working with regular clients, the things that people have within them that come out layer by layer. It's the same with me, layer by layer, things come out. So who showed you their true colors last week, good or challenging? I saw mine, and I saw them in both sides, the amazingly wonderful and also the hatred that is out there for people who expect you to be a certain way. So it was a great lesson for me also, because, it has been quite overwhelming in a very humbling way for all the communication that we have received and continue to receive. And emotions were coming up for me because I had my own things going on in my life. It's not just work. And so, work is my life, but there's other things going on too. And that aggressiveness that came up in that one email, it's like anything and anybody, we can get 10 million really wonderful things and we remember the one thing that's challenging. But this is why it's about that expectation. When we make connection, so for me, I'm giving you an example, Soul 33 is being connected to many, many people all over the world. And it's source or spirit that wants me to be seen in this way because of what I do and how they work through me to help people. And we can't expect everybody to understand what that means. Some people will take it the wrong way, that, oh, you're showing off. It's not that at all. Those who know me will know that this is who you get 100% of the time. I don't change who I am. But must remember that we are all multi-dimensional people. There's just not one side to people. And this is why people surprise us, good or bad, as we get into relationships with them. Sometimes we can be in a relationship for many, many years and suddenly someone changes for the better or not the better because they surprise us, like, oh, I didn't know that was in you. And so this water, and it was interesting because I always have watery dreams, and it's connected to Atlantis. That's why the message I received during the week, which I'll recap in a minute, was from Atlantis. And I dreamt of a very old lifetime that I had where the sea was abundant. Sea was abundant, meaning there were just whales everywhere and old boats, old boats that were on the ocean, and I was there watching this, and I knew that it was the serenity that I needed within to be able to indicate the wonderfulness of my life and the joy that comes from being able to be on this platform and help you to purify and help you to connect. So very interesting week of connections without expectations. And also even it was applied to relationships too. I'm not an astrologer, but I do know that Venus is also in retrograde. It's going direct this week, I believe. And Mercury is in retrograde also. So relationships and the expectations we place on people, that's another interesting thing that's been coming up in relation to I make connections without expectations. So the message from Atlantis in the middle of the week, and for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, just reminding you that here in New Zealand, we're a day ahead of you. The movement card came up again. And, if you look at that card, which you should, so when you're pulling your cards on the app, on this Soul Progression digital oracle deck, have a look to see what the imagery is on the card, what the number is on the card. And here the movement card came up again, and because Mercury had gone into retrograde that day as well, it was the healing waters of Atlantis. That was the night that I had the dream. And when your connection comes, it is for you to move with the natural flow of it, not ask for a weaker or stronger current. What I mean by that is I often get surprised with people who get mad because they haven't had a spiritual awakening. Now, as I've always told you, I never asked for my awakening. All I was doing was had my distribution company in Asia, and I was doing my thing, getting on with my life, presenting on TV, doing all the things that came up for me. What I did do, though, was I started meditating after my breakup with a long-term partner, and I was doing that for me because I was thinking there must be something more to my life than feeling this massive hole in my life. And so I was meditating for myself. What did happen, though, about a year and a half, 2 years before 33, I would literally scream to the universe, what am I meant to be doing with my life? You need to show me clear direction. What am I meant to be doing? And then boom, at 33. And I went with it. I could have not and just stayed in a very successful businesswoman position, but I went with it. I never ask for more when it comes to my spiritual gifts because they are gifts gifted to me, and I never question it because it is who I am. And who are you? It's not about comparing who you want to be. It's who you are and going with the natural flow of it. And that's what I meant. That was the message from Atlantis. Because Atlantis represents what can happen when we allow human coercion to take over. And this is why the spiritual ego can be really, really bad, is that people have this perception that, if you're seen on TV, which was around what the hateful email that came through, that you are somehow fame hungry and all of those things. But I wouldn't have been there if Spirit didn't orchestrate that to be invited on whatever platforms I'm being invited on, because I can't force those things to happen. People vet you to check that you're the real deal. So we can fail and ruin a whole perfect world of gift and connections, even relationships, forcing them and asking, I need this now and I want this commitment now. Sure, there's times and places to ask for the things that you need, absolutely. But connections, when they naturally grow and naturally come, it's this whole perfect world of gifts, and we don't really need to intervene too much. So the movement card came up for you last week as a collective when I asked that question before I pulled the card. What do we need to know as a collective? It's to remind you that the connections for you to be real and fertile so they can grow. They don't need to be forced with expectation. And if you do, there may be destruction rather than the true gift that awaits you. So really reevaluate what that means. A connection, whether it's a spiritual connection or a connection with someone, a friend, whoever, it is a real gift. And we don't ask for gifts, do we? We don't ask someone, can you get me a gift? Can you give me a gift? I mean, the question that me and my close friends ask each other when it's times of the year when we want to gift each other something is because we've known each other for so long and we want to get something that the person really wants or needs. We will ask each other, what would you like? It's like a gentle request, but we don't go around asking people, I want you to give me a gift, because it's not a natural thing. You're not going to be receiving it in a way from a place of love. You're going to be getting it because someone thinks that you expect that. So we usually ask for love or more purpose, which is the true intention behind a heartfelt gift. When we receive what is given, we can deepen the connection to that intention or the giver. We are then operating in surplus, not the deficit of disappointment. So this is why I hear this so many times. And Kieran tells me with emails, I want a gift. I want to be like you. I want to be a healer like you. How do I do what you do? I don't know. I was chosen. So I just said yes and just kept going with it. So that's the difference. It's when we ask for a gift, you're very unlikely to get it and be successful with it in whatever success means to you. But when you just naturally give and receive, you're going to get it from a place of love in the way that it's right, that is right for you. So when we receive from a place of no expectation, the sweetness of the gift brings joyful gratitude and reverence to the giver for seeing you. When we receive, so when I receive new information or extra abilities to my gift, I receive it because I'm not asking them for anything more. They just give it to me. And it's just like, thank you for trusting me with this information. It's really amazing that Spirit sees me and whoever else who's receiving gifts in any way. You saw me for who I am. So when we ask for a gift, it's an expectation. It isn't given from the heart of the universe. So let life surprise you. What's life going to give me because I'm vibrating high and I want to help in some way, and I'm open to doing that in the way that's right for me, that's not comparing to other people or wanting to be somebody else. I don't want to be anybody else. I just want to be the multi-dimensional person that I am, and allowing that all to work together for the greatest good of myself and of people, because like I said, I'm also a person. We can be let down when we have expectations. We must trust we are being led to where we need to go and given what is meant for us. This is stealing, right? Stealing is a horrible thing to do. We're taking something that doesn't belong to us. So when we are led where we need to go, the network in which we live connects us all, and every part and person has its function. It's not just what we see in front of us, it's how we see it. That's the perception I'm talking about. How are you choosing to see someone? How are you choosing to see your life? How are you choosing to see yourself? So that photo that I put up of me, I loved that photo because it was taken on film by my photographer. And you can see the beautiful green light above my eyes and the green light on my chest. And I know that was Spirit showing the auric colours that I have, because those of you who saw that photo with the blue light coming through my head with my pink dressing gown on, that's what I'm talking about, these different layers and networks that connects every part of us. And that shouldn't come with expectation. It's just being in the natural flow. Making connections is about the web of life we live in, feeling that connection with everything, everyone, and source. We are all a part of the network, but our network is made up of many components. And I've been thinking about connections all through the week, because obviously Soul 33 has been so lucky to be connected to so many different households around the world now, and how one person links you to something or more people, but how not all connections stay the same or are forever. And so this, when I was telling my partner about the hate mail, he said, you started off nobody knowing anything about you. Like my website, I created. Sure, I had some help to design it a bit nicer, but it's kind of like things don't stay the same, especially if you're someone that wants to grow, which is what soul progression is. It's what I do for work. I am got that in me too, to want to grow and see who I am. But when you are looking at life with this web, knowing that this web is weaving us all together, some things will stay a part of the same and some things will be returned back to source, because this is why some things don't last forever, because some relationships are not meant to, some you're not meant to stay the same. That's why we progress and change lives and change circumstances. The layers are not just what you can see, but parts returning and leaving to the motherboard, which is the universe, as and when is needed. So when we put expectations on these connections, we don't see the gift or the lesson. We just get disappointed or we get pleasantly surprised. And I know me, I just want to be pleasantly surprised, because for me, that's way more exciting, knowing, are people going to see me for who I am? Because I'm not going to force anything. So that was the recap for last week. I know it was a long one, but there was just a lot to share with you so that you could apply it to your life. And remember, I am here for you. This app here is for you to progress yourself. It's only $60 a year, a whole year. Everybody can afford to invest in their soul progression from this perspective, because I keep the payment gateway outside of the app platforms, the app stores, because they take such a huge percentage that I would need to put the cost of the app subscription up significantly, and I don't want to do that because I want everybody to be able to afford it. There are different tiers to see me, as you know. The reason why I do that is because there are different energetic connections that are made based on what you're needing at any time in your life. So if you're seeing me in person or if you're waiting, and just know, regular clients, I will be seeing you again. I am just doing what I can because it does take me time to release energy. So basically what I've asked Kieran to do is schedule me a little bit, and then I've left spaces to see how I feel. So please don't worry, regular clients, as things grow, it's always the right time when you see me. You just have to understand that I'm doing my very best to stay healthy and balanced so that I can keep giving in the way that I do. So if you need any help, don't forget, any IT help or any help with services, personalized meditations are a wonderful way for you to connect with me and stay progressing. So if you're needing any help at all, do contact Kieran, soul33@gmail.com. Remember, we're not mind readers, so if you leave a message in the group chat with just an initial saying you're having IT problems, we don't know who or what that means. So Kieran has direct contact with IT, so just we're happy to help you, but just let us know and don't stay silent about it. And just remember, we've got a whole team that's working behind the scenes to grow this as much as I can within the resources that I have at this time. Okay, moving into this week's energy. A turning point is happening for the better, and it involves acceptance. A turning point is happening for the better, and it involves acceptance. The term once in a blue moon suits very well for this week's energy because we actually do have a blue moon, a full blue moon, and it's also a turning point for us when it comes to love. Now, like I said, I don't know this astrologically, but because I feel and spirit communicates with me, this is what I've been told. Last week may have been emotional for some. For me, it was definitely, and I could see that in my clients also. And remember, spirit gives me these lessons so that I can experience to be able to teach you. And this week there's a bit more emotional balance, but still needing to consider that Mercury retrograde is impacting our communication. So you may be wanting some attention from someone, maybe a partner, maybe a colleague, maybe a friend. You're going to need to ask for it clearly but gently, as they, meaning the other party, don't realize that that's what you want. That's what you want. They might be thinking, why are you behaving like this? Or why are you dancing around the periphery or not talking to me or whatever? And really the underlying thing is wanting attention. And that's okay because, we're all humans. We need to be reminded that we're loved sometimes or appreciated. So maybe you want to give that appreciation in order for the universe to know that you are in that state of gratitude, because somewhere down the line you're going to get it back, because that's just how it works, especially when it's connections without expectations. Everyone is a bit confused at the moment about why they're feeling things. It's very hard to pinpoint why we're feeling things. So others are going to be feeling that way too. So that's why being brave and clear in your communication, but not too harsh, because people are just a bit mind-boggled at the moment because of the way the energy is. Contemplate first before you open your heart to share, so that you know it's courage speaking and it's not fear speaking. Memories and childhood triggers may be coming up. So the triggers, I know triggers usually has a negative connotation, but triggers are also like, oh, I remember that. It's such an interesting story. I woke up yesterday, and when we first moved to New Zealand, I was 5, but my dad had come to New Zealand long before then, long before I was born, like, I don't know, 10 years before I was born or something, and before he was married. And he had a foster family, and this foster family has remained in our life for many, many years. Now, we lived with them for a long time before we found our own home and everything in New Zealand. And I hadn't been in touch with my dad's foster mum, who's a white Caucasian Kiwi lady, for a long time. And I called her. I'm talking about a long time, like 15 years or something. And I got up on Sunday morning thinking, I need to speak to her. And I found her phone number, which was the same for all of these years since I was 5, since I met her. And I called her and I said, Auntie, I said, do you know who this is? And she said, no. And I said, it's Gaia. And she said, oh, is it really? And I was like, yep. And she's just in her 90s now. And it really flooded this whole memories of childhood and what wonderful memories I have with her and her husband, who's now passed away. And it was just this, and I knew that was setting me up because it was Sunday when this happened, and I've actually got more childhood memories coming up this week, which I'll share with you on my Instagram as they happen. And so things are coming up to celebrate too. So look at what life is giving you, and don't just declare what feels like life punishments. Really look at the celebrations in life, because we can often think like, oh my God, why is life punishing us? Like, why is it? It's just the way it goes. Like I said to you, with all the loving emails, one came through that wasn't. And it's not that life was punishing me. It was just going, this is just what you get when you put yourself out there, or you declare who you are. Some people are just not going to like it because they expect you to be a certain way. So there is information and options being presented to restore closeness and have a sense of relief that you are important, because my auntie, hadn't heard from me and felt important, like, oh, so lovely to hear from you. And it's that kind of feeling. So I know that I had that call to call her after all these years because of what the energy is that we're going into. You're being asked to accept to be able to take this turning point and make this turning point. Acceptance, accepting where we're at, accepting what is, accepting that this is part and parcel of our soul progression. Toward the full moon, some feelings of insecurity or unworthiness may come up to be released, but it's probably already coming up for you in some way. You may not just realize it. And we want to look and reevaluate our expectations versus what is realistic. So this energy of last week, the connections without expectations, as you know, those of you who have been Monday Mantra listeners for years will know that everything leads into a one bigger story. Because as we go into September, we're asking ourselves if we're open to receive from this place of acceptance. Because I noticed that, we tend to live in the past, or we're living in the future. Even eating a meal, I'm going, okay, I need to do this after that. I'm not actually sitting and enjoying the meal that I've cooked. And it's because we're very rarely in the present. So missing or disconnected, even broken bits of life, or things that have felt disconnected or broken, or you haven't seen someone, that reconnection, that's all happening. And it's happening to put things together in a new way for a fresh cycle to begin. Sorry, I just whacked my phone. But growth is happening. So you're being asked to put love first in relationships, and in your relationship, and what you're doing for yourself. Because when you love something, like I love my work, I love creating, I love having ideas, like, okay, I'm only one person, there's only so many people I can see. How else can I help people? That gives everyone an opportunity to receive some sort of healing or some sort of guidance. And you're more inclined to make things work because you do love them, or you do love something that you're doing. So lots to think about this week, lots to understand through the meditation homework that I've given you. Remember, even if you don't like the meditation, or you don't like my voice, or you don't like the music or whatever, just do it anyway, because I think it's important that we work through our resistance to accept. But just know that even if you fall asleep, or even if you have to do it lying down, or even if you're walking when you're doing it, I know people are busy people with families and whatever. And remember, you can do them anywhere. As long as you're getting something done, just being in my energy is enough to help you shift something and realize something. And a turning point is happening for the better, and it involves acceptance. I'm excited for all of us this week and going into September to see what comes. Remember, I'm here for you in all different ways. I'm doing my best to see you all. And thank you for your patience. And thank you for being here all these years. And I've had wonderful clients over this last week who have been so excited about seeing Soul 33 on these different platforms. And I just really am so appreciative to have you all on my journey too, because I learned so much from all of you. Because remember, I'm just a vessel. Gaia is learning too, and very humbled to be able to be here with you on this journey. If you need any help, Kieran is my right-hand girl. You can trust her with everything. And Kieran is someone that I physically know. Like, she's involved. She helps me with my grandmother sending things to her, and she goes over to my house, my family home in Malaysia. Kieran's based in Kuala Lumpur, so you can trust her. And we receive a lot of sensitive information, so just know that everything is safe here. Don't forget to like, tag, share, subscribe when you're doing your meditations, sharing the Monday mantras, pulling the cards, whatever you're doing. And the group chat is there for you to talk about what you experience doing your meditations, what you're feeling, so use those functions because they're all there for you to speak from who you are or anonymously. But yeah, let's share and keep this network together. And enjoy this blue moon. And I will be in touch later this week. Well, it'll be middle of the week for the Northern Hemisphere members with a new meditation. So every first week of the month, so every month basically in the first week, I put up a new meditation to add to the ever-growing database of meditations that are there. Love you all.